All right. Well, welcome to another podcast. We are very excited to have a great guest and a great topic of conversation today. We've got Duane Smith, who's Marketing and Business Development VP for PWT. Already a lot of acronyms, and it's just the beginning. So buckle up. I almost feel like this podcast should be in our first responder market category because there's going to be a lot of acronyms thrown out. But nevertheless, Duane will guide us through it, no doubt. And I'm excited because the product category that we're talking about is one that isn't a topic of frequent conversation. It kind of hides in the shadows, both literally and figuratively. In building applications, you don't see it. It doesn't get a whole lot of glory, but it literally is. When I say it's the foundation, it truly is. We have known everybody at PWT for a very, very long time. We very firmly stand behind this company, vouch for them as a group of very high caliber values and professionals. The quality of their product is literally unsurpassed in the marketplace. So how's that for an intro, Duane?
I love it. Thank you, Patrick, for having me. Great intro about the product. You're spot on, right? It's underneath everything. It's new. It's exciting. We're very excited about it, and great to be with you today.
Yeah, great. Well, listen, before we get into the frenzy of acronyms and all the glory of this foundational product, why don't you give us a little bit of background and just if we were on a website, which we're not, that's not cue to pull up the website, but what is the About Us tab kind of all about? Give us the foundation of the company at PWT is all about.
Sure, appreciate that. So PWT is what we are today, but we started as Pacific Wood Tech back in 1998 as a greenfield mill up in Burlington, Washington. But the interesting part about that is we really didn't develop that brand then because we were a private label mill. We private labeled for 29 different companies. And so we promoted their brands, and we were just the manufacturer. And it was a pretty neat business model. I think theoretically it was pretty cool and pretty stable, but over time, it proved that it had some chinks in the armor. So when Jim Enright came on board in 2000, and I believe it was 14, we have a very, very modern, high capacity mill up there in Burlington, and it wasn't running to its capacity because we were changing stamps all the time. We were changing paper all the time because everybody's logos are different. And so at the end of the day, he said, you know what, we need to develop our own brand, and it's Pacific Wood Tech, and that's what we started doing. Still up in the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest, still producing a lot of product, but under our own name. Then in 2022, we bought the engineered lumber asset from Louisiana Pacific. And at that time, we've become now a national company. So hence the name PWT instead of Pacific Wood Tech, because we are certainly national in scope and scale.
Yeah, that's amazing. It really speaks to, Jim and the entire, culture there. I've known Jim for a long time, and I think just about anybody listening to this has at least heard of Jim or certainly the companies that he's been involved in, because it's literally the who's who of the most successful, the most powerful brands. I mean, Jim has in some way been involved in that. And when he went over to PWT, we kind of said, wow, that's a smaller, more unique situation than we're used to you being involved in. But it's certainly no surprise that very quickly, he and the rest of the team rolled up their sleeves and found some entrepreneurial opportunities to very quickly, dramatically expand the footprint, the offering.
Definitely is. And I think the acquisition took the industry by storm. I think everybody was surprised. I know I was surprised when I first read it. And to your point, Jim is so well known and such an innovator. So certainly properly placed, and we are where we are today, and it's very exciting.
Well, what I and it sounds like just a scripted love story, but I really do admire PWT in the industry, because they're one of those I'm speaking about it in the third person, even though I'm talking to you. I mean, PWT is one of those companies that really lets the product and your performance with your customers do the talking. I mean, while you do a little bit of marketing and everything, it isn't, I, I don't perceive it to be marketing with the ambition of faking it till you make it.
No.
You know, you have never tried to portray yourself as the 800-pound gorilla of the industry. Actually, completely the opposite. It's, you know, focus, look at the quality of our product, look at the quality of our service, look at our relationships, look at our innovation. And
Spot on.
yeah, so it doesn't surprise me that I agree with you, even though I know the inner workings of the company. You know, LP is considered one of those 800-pound gorillas. And so when the acquisition went that way, not the other way,
Yeah.
it was kind of like, ooh, wow, okay, so that puts you on the radar.
It really did. And to your point, you know, Patrick, we certainly tout ourselves on our product quality. We do think we're world class in that arena. And of course, what we want to make sure separates us from everybody else is our customer service and how we treat our customers
Yeah.
and how we treat our employees. So we're a very humble company. That's the roots of Jim, and that's the roots of everybody that's been part of this company since it was founded in 1998. And I'm ecstatic to be a part of it.
Yeah. So let's get into kind of the meat of things. Before we do that, we should probably give everybody a little acronym dictionary. So PWT is in the category of products called EWT, producing a product called LVL that's treated with PTI. Is that a fair quick summary? Do I get an A?
I think you got it. I'm glad you said it, not me.
Okay, great. So EWP, engineered wood products. So I hope everybody in the audience at this point knows what that is. But you know, it's interesting because this is you know, one of the fastest growing categories, you know, within LBM. And another acronym. There we go. Let's see if we can pull out a few more. But again, you know, they never hit the radar. They never get any fanfare, anything. So you know, I remember when things like, well, you know, I mean plywood technically, but you know, then when OSB came onto the market, kind of, you know, same type of idea. You know, everybody is talking about CLT and you know, big timber and, you know, tall, you know, wooden buildings and using that application. But you know, it's one of the things I love and joke about this industry is we are very, very slow to change. We once we develop our habits, we love our habits. And that, you know, that exists from the top all the way down to the building site and the guy swinging the hammers. You know, they're
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, there are guys still literally swinging hammers because hey, those pneumatic nailers just can't be trusted. So, but you know, in the same breath, we do joke, you know, across the industry that when you're working in an industry where literally the biggest innovation to home building in the past 150 years is a pneumatic nail gun, like pretty much, right? I mean, everything else is literally done the exact same way. You know, what that speaks to is very few opportunities to talk about something new.
Yes.
But we do have that. So what we're talking about today is PWT's new line of treated LVL.
Yes.
So before we get into the treated portion, just kind of walk everybody through LVL generally from a category perspective and in the variety of applications that, you know, represent the volume in the marketplace that LVL finds its home.
Sure. So LVL stands for laminated veneer lumber, and it takes veneers and glues them together in a vertical application, and we make beam and header out of it. Beams to support I-joist, headers to support other loads. And so at the end of the day, you know, engineered lumber has come along, like you said, over time to frame bigger houses, to clear longer spans, to give a stiffer floor, right? So LVL is used to hold up all these I-joists. So it's certainly a product that's been around a while, but to your point, and we're not the only ones that make regular LVL, but at the end of the day, LVL is a big component of an engineered lumber floor system.
Yeah, certainly as the national trend of the average home is getting larger and larger, and then
Mhm.
especially the trend of open concept floor plans.
Yes.
With land being so expensive and in the bulk of the areas where new homes are being built, they're building up because land's expensive, so they're not
Mhm.
building out. But as a result, when you want an open floor plan and it's a multi-story building, you're talking about loads. And you're
Yes.
talking about very unique arrangements when you don't have a multitude of load bearing walls, to keep the building upright. And that's really where LVL has found its home, no pun intended.
Without it, without a doubt. I had to laugh.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, right. So now let's move outdoors, right?
Mhm.
So truly the fastest growing segment, especially within R&R, is outdoor living space. So and that literally exploded during the COVID era
Mhm.
of everybody being trapped at home and going, wow, it'd be nice to be outside, but hey, I need somewhere other than lawn chairs.
Yes.
So everybody started building decks and pergolas and gazebos and three season rooms and all kinds of amazing, beautiful things to take that indoor feeling and extend it to the outdoors.
Mhm.
So, talk to me about decks and some of the challenges of building decks, especially regionally.
Sure. So to your point, outdoor living space has become such an important uh, factor for all of us, right? And so once again, these decks are bigger, longer spans. The deck boards that are used today, whether it's a high-end wood or a high-end composite, some of these products are warranted for 25, 30, 40, 50 years. And nobody wants to have to maintain their deck. They just want to live on it and enjoy it. And so at the end of the day, when you're putting, I think one of the challenges is when you're putting a $9 lineal foot deck board down, you want it to stay in place. You don't want it to move. You don't want it to wiggle or whatever it may be. And so the stability of our treated LVL solves a lot of that. It stays perfectly flat. It doesn't twist. It doesn't bow because once again, these spans are long. These loads are heavy. And these deck boards are really a premium product, and I think a premium product deserves to be on a premium substructure.
Yeah, and I'll say it because you're too nice of a guy to say it, but I mean up until this point, you know the the application of products for that decking substructure, and as you say, especially when you're talking about what I call kind of elevated or multi-story decks,
Mhm.
where you're using the lower level in kind of a walkout basement type application, or just large spans. um Really what you're looking at is using either steel, which has its it's great. I mean, it'll certainly live through the warranty of that very expensive, beautiful product that you're putting on top. But the problem is, very few crews are trained in both wood and steel. So
Yeah,
usually, you're sourcing the metal from vendors that you're not used to dealing with, and you're having to pull in subcontractors that you're not used to dealing with, and all those things lead to time delays and inefficiencies. And you're counting on subs to reflect your quality of work that you promised to the homeowner. So that there's steel. Then there's treated lumber, I suppose, but you're what you're really left with is solid sawn beams.
mhm,
And in an outdoor application, especially in the worst of conditions, where at the very least you're talking about below the deck, maybe it is elevated, but you're talking about maintaining paint or coatings or something in hopes of preserving that substructure because it isn't treated.
that's right. Or if it is pressure treated, it's not warranted. So to your point, with steel specifically, we feel like we've taken all the benefits of steel. which is a perfectly flat system that doesn't move. And we've been able to maintain that with the easeability of working with wood. I mean, I think a lot of us are wood guys. And
Yeah.
so certainly the crews that are on the job are wood guys. Their tools are made to work with wood. So at the end of the day, we wanted to take the best of what we could find out there and still make sure we use it in a product that is, like I said, wood.
Yeah.
So we feel like we've really hit the nail on the head with this. We feel like this is a game changer.
Yeah. So I mean, really, without further ado, I mean, we've kind of danced all around the subject, but really what we're talking about today is that PWT has created a truly treated LVL.
Yes, a treated LVL for exterior use with a
Yeah.
25-year warranty.
So that, I mean, without getting into science and engineering or anything, but as I think any tradesman can kind of understand what the challenges of doing this would be, right? I mean, what you're talking about is laminated veneers, which just in that alone, right? You're dealing with smaller pieces of wood. We're not talking about CLT,
Right.
and you're using an adhesive
Yes.
and heat and pressure
Yep.
to make sure that this bond between these pieces of wood is so stable and permanent that the combination of all these products together are exponentially larger than any single piece.
Without a doubt. Without a
So
doubt. Yep.
that's standard LVL. But
Yes.
now what you need to do is add a completely different assortment of chemicals that prevent mold and mildew and rot and insects and all the normal things that are trying to wreak havoc in our life.
And also maintain the integrity of the glue lines and not have a structural reduction in strength at the same time. You're right.
Right. So needless to say, I can't think of, but I'm sure this has been tried countless times over the years. And you're the first to figure it out. So like, can you give us, just a kind of a Cliff Notes version of that journey and kind of some of the things that maybe were slam doors in your face and, different kind of small successes that led to this?
Sure. So we've been working with a chemical company for quite a few years because we used to ship a lot of product to Australia, and it had to be treated for termites. And so we certainly have had the ability to work with this company, and they do such a great job for us. And so, certainly with Jim's expertise and his knowledge, the industry has always been looking for how do we use an LVL in an exterior use. And so through many trials and tribulations, we have figured out with, of course, our chemical company, how to treat our product, the veneers, before they get laid up. So in other words, we're actually treating the veneers, this LVL, from the inside out. It's not pressure treated. It's not a wet application. It's not something that's injected into the product. It's actually treating the veneers as we lay them up. And so there is no strength reduction. It is a dry treatment. The product is not as heavy as pressure treated lumber, and yet we have the integrity of the product. It stays perfectly flat, resistant to all different kinds of things out there, and we're able to give it a 25-year warranty. So through all the different trials and tribulations, we feel like we have hit truly, once again, the nail on the head. And it's a product that we are the only ones in the world that have that, and we're pretty darn proud of it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you have to be a little bit of a lumber geek to get as excited about this as for example, I am, and I'm sure you are as well. But to put it in perspective, even lumber that per AWPA is coded for ground contact doesn't have 100% permeation of the chemicals.
Correct.
And what you do, because you are treating the individual veneers as they're being laid up before they're being assembled into the LVL, I mean, you're talking about a permeation and a level of treatment that rivals anything.
Yes, no doubt about it. Now,
even though you're talking about structurally a far larger component, if you were trying to just in size and treat something that large, you would never get core permeation within that beam.
It would be very, very difficult. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Yep. So we're very excited about this, and you know, we initially launched the product in January of 2020, and of course that was right before COVID, and we realized what happened then, right? We couldn't go out and see customers, we couldn't distribute
Right.
literature. Uh, the industry took off. We had product allocation, so we are literally relaunching the product now with different marketing campaigns. And it's exciting to be talking to deck builders. It's exciting to be talking to
Yeah.
lumber yards and to distributors, and everybody's pretty darn excited about what the product is and what it does for the industry.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about really the specific applications and you know, especially geographically, you know, some of the challenges that this solves.
Sure. So as far as what it does for the industry, when we first launched it, we talked about the fact that it could be used for a beam and header, for a deck beam, you know, the beam that's furthest from the house, right? And you have all your columns. And really the marketing campaign that was initially talked about was we could span further with LVL because LVL is stronger than lumber. And so at that point, you could possibly eliminate a column and have cleaner sight lines, especially if you have living space down below your deck. But as we've gotten further and further and deeper into this, and as we've talked to decking manufacturers and understood really what the decking is all about, a solid, stable substructure is really what's important. And the deck beam is a part of it, but really where this comes into play is using our LVL for deck joists.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to crown them. You don't have to hand plane them. You don't have to worry about twisting or bowing. And so the framing of a deck is quicker, saving on labor and expense.
Right.
The product is incredibly stable. So the deck boards that you just paid $9 a lineal foot for, because it's a beautiful, wonderful product that's warranted for 20, 50 years even, those deck boards stay flat, they stay straight, they stay
Mm-hmm.
where they were put down. And now you have a complete structure from the substructure on through the decking that's warranted for at least 25 years.
Right. And not to mention, I mean, the speed of application of those boards when you're dealing with a wood substructure versus steel, for example.
Yes, you're right. Once again, not a different crew, not a different screw, not a different tool. It's you're framing the deck how you've always framed a deck, but it's with a far superior product that's still wood.
Right, right. So I mean, in terms of geography as well, you know, I mean, there's obviously regions, you know, that go through big, you know, weather and temperature, you know, changes. So, you know, Pacific Northwest and the northern United States, the lake states, you know, where you're talking about, you know, 6 months in the 80s, 90s with high humidity, and
Yep.
then shifting to that deck being buried under potentially 12 feet of snow. Um, and then, you know, you've got the Southeast or, you know, especially Hawaii, you know, where just that humidity, that moisture, those insects, you know, the mold, the fungus, it's you know, it's a disaster for anything that's wood,
Except ours.
except for yours. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
certainly, you know, as far as geography limitations go, we don't feel like there are any. If it's a high humidity type climate, great. If it's near water, great. If it's near snow, wonderful. There's no geographic limitations whatsoever. But what's exciting for us too is the fact that I was just talking to a lumber dealer up in Indianapolis, not near the ocean, you know, not in the southeast.
Right.
Certainly there's humidity, but the fact is when you start talking about a high-end deck that has an expensive deck board, people are looking for this product. So we feel it's certainly a valid product across the country. Certainly, I think there's added benefits, the fact that it's so stable in high humidity or wet climates, but it's certainly a product that can be used anywhere and everywhere. What's also nice about our product too is it can be stained right away. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to wait 6 months or a year for the chemicals to leach out of it. The day it comes off the press is the day you can stain it. So it's really nice to be able to stain the product before you assemble a deck substructure, instead of doing all the cutting in and all the painting after the deck is built. So another
Well,
thing.
I was about to ask. I mean, the you know, the other nice thing about this is, you know, I mean, number one, it it is and has become even more so considered a beautiful product. Like I mean, we
Yeah.
were just in an airport somewhere. Where was it? Portland, Maine.
Mm.
On clear the other side of the country, and their departures area of the airport is just an amazing architectural feat of
Oh,
wood.
wow. Okay.
And even up in BC, their airport, very very similar, in their convention center, the same thing.
Mhm.
There's a lot of use of LVL in there to support big spans of, and just wood everywhere. So in a deck application, having that substructure, be functional,
Mhm.
but beautiful as well. And as you said, I mean, I assume you can stain it, you can paint it, and also more so during the construction process, if you're trimming that, you don't have to reapply any sort of treatment to those end cuts, do you?
There's not a treatment that you need to apply as far as the chemicals that were, first applied to the product, but we do uh, strongly recommend, require that you would paint the ends just to
Hmm.
seal, the end with with a paint.
Yep.
But it really doesn't need to be retreated, no,
Hmm.
but to be coated, yes.
Okay, that's awesome, fantastic. Um, and I assume this has gone through so many levels of testing and certification and review by third parties and everything. This isn't something you're just rolling out of bed and claiming the win, right?
No, that's a great point, and I appreciate you bringing that up. All the necessary codes, the ICC codes, APA reports, third-party testing, all of that's very, very thorough and complete. Hence the 25-year warranty as well. But everything is code approved, and it's been in the marketplace for a little while. But certainly, we're gaining a lot of traction right now. Certainly, as we get into the true launch of what the product we hope will be.
That's awesome, and for those out there that are worried about sustainability, obviously creating solid sawn beams require very very large trees, where these do not. And this treatment makes sure that we're not just burning through materials, because as you said, this substructure is going to last for as long as whatever you put on top of it.
That's a great point, and I appreciate that. Sustainability, forestation, all that together is something that's very, very near and dear to us. We do not own our own timberlands at PWT, but we certainly are cognizant of that, and we want to make sure that we're good stewards of the industry and of the environment. And to your point, we're not cutting down old growth trees to peel for LVL, and we're able to put something back together that's strong and straight and will last quite a while.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So, so what do you kind of see as, the future of the industry and PWT and, kind of the application of products like this? Like how does PWT kind of view this category?
Mhm. We certainly we're in the industry as far as an engineered lumber or EWP manufacturer. There are others around us, right? And there's plenty of market share to have. But I think what separates us is we pride ourselves in being innovators, and this is one of those products. We also like making scaffold plank, and not everybody makes that. We also like making wide billet beams. Not everybody likes making that because sometimes, depending on their press situation, it may slow down their press. So we like making that as well. We also like making concrete form. Not everybody makes concrete form. So we have the core products, right? LVL and I-joist, but we also have other products that we feel are quite innovative to the industry, but that are needed by the industry as well. So we're not done yet. I'm not saying that there's something in my back pocket that we're getting ready to announce, but we pride ourselves on being innovators as well as main producers of engineered lumber.
That's amazing. Super exciting stuff. Is So if somebody wants to learn more about this, or or hopefully even find it, to use in their next building project, where would they go?
Sure. So we just launched a brand new website and it's been rebranded, and the website is pwtewp.com. I'm not sure if we can pull that up or not, but if we could, it would be great to possibly show. There it is. So
Yeah.
there it is, PWT. And so on the menu at the top by product, if somebody was to click on that, and there comes a mega menu, and you can see there is I-joist, there's LVL, there's treated, rimboard, and industrial. So the middle, the dark green segment there, PWT treated, if somebody was to click on that, it would take them right to the PWT treated page, which gives a lot of information about the product. There's a couple of videos right there that are testimonies from some deck builders. There's features and benefits, and then as you scroll down more and more, there are code reports, there are installation guides, there are span tables, basically anything that you could ever want, including frequently asked questions about the product. So hopefully people find our webpage to be easy to use, intuitive to use, and full of information.
I absolutely love it. That's fantastic. Well, listen, Duane, I really appreciate this. Needless to say, we are super excited about this product. I think that it's going to open up a lot of possibilities. We we serve many verticals within the marketplace. One of our most interesting, obviously, is working with deck builders and showcasing their products, and the level of creativity. I mean, these guys are just beyond builders. A lot of them, fancy themselves artists, and it really shows in their work. And this just opens up so many opportunities for them to expand their creativity and the things that they can do for clients. These decks are just getting bigger and bigger and more amazing. And, it's routinely within the pages of our magazines that we feature decks that are, just the deck project costs more than the first house that I bought when I was young. And it shows. If I had it, I would just live on the deck and never even go inside the house it's attached to. But I think your product is going to, open up kind of a whole new arena of opportunities for them to be able to push the boundaries even more.
Well, we certainly hope so. We feel we're onto something here. And I've thoroughly enjoyed today, Patrick, very much, and getting the word out about our product, and to the whole decking community and the deck builders of the world. Check out our product online on our website, and hopefully it's something that they'll be able to incorporate into their next build, because we do think it is a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody check out PWT LVL for sure.